Ladybird Lake, a serene body of water nestled in the heart of Austin in Texas, has long been a beloved destination for locals and tourists alike. The picturesque lake, surrounded by lush greenery and flanked by urban trails, offers a peaceful escape from the bustling city. However, in recent years this tranquil setting has become the center of a chilling mystery that has gripped the community and sparked widespread fear and speculation: the presence of a suspected serial killer. Welcome back to Crime Chronicles. Stay tuned as we look at how 10 bodies have been pulled from Ladybird Lake in Austin in the past 2 years, and how law enforcement seems resistant to acknowledge that a serial killer may be operating in plain sight. The first signs that something was amiss began surfacing in 2018 when a series of unexplained drownings started to occur in Ladybird Lake. Initially, these incidents were dismissed as accidents. After all, accidental drownings, though tragic, are not unheard of in large bodies of water, particularly in areas frequented by swimmers, boaters, and those enjoying a night out. However, as the number of drownings increased, with several of the victims sharing similar profiles, a more sinister possibility began to take shape. The victims, predominantly young men in their 20s and 30s, were often found in the lake after disappearing from downtown Austin's vibrant nightlife scene. In many cases, these individuals were last seen leaving bars or clubs along Rainy Street or 6th Street, popular areas known for their lively atmosphere and abundance of alcohol-fueled revelry. Despite being fit and healthy, these men were later found dead in the water, leading to growing concerns that these incidents were not merely accidental. One of the most unsettling aspects of the suspected Ladybird Lake serial killer is the apparent pattern in the victims. The men who have been found in the lake are strikingly similar in several key ways. They are typically white or Hispanic, physically fit, and were last seen in the vicinity of downtown Austin's bar scene. The consistent demographics of the victims have fueled speculation that they are specifically targeted, possibly by a predator who seeks out certain characteristics in his victims. The first high-profile case that drew significant attention was that of Martin Gutierrez in 2018. Gutierrez, a 25-year-old man, was last seen leaving a bar in downtown Austin. His body was later found in Ladybird Lake, sparking initial concerns. As more cases followed, the similarities between the victims became harder to ignore. In many instances, the victims were last seen alone, often in the early hours of the morning, with their bodies discovered days or even weeks later, sometimes in varying stages of decomposition. These cases have left the families of the victims and the wider community desperate for answers. Many have questioned the initial rulings of accidental drownings, pointing to the fact that the victims were strong swimmers, some with no history of substance abuse or suicidal tendencies. The growing body count, coupled with a lack of clear explanations, has led many to believe that a serial killer might be operating in the area. Austin police have faced mounting pressure to address the public's concerns about a potential serial killer. Initially, authorities were hesitant to label the deaths as anything other than accidental. Drownings can occur for a variety of reasons, including intoxication, misjudgment, or simple misfortune. However, as the number of cases continued to rise, the public demanded more thorough investigations and greater transparency from law enforcement. In response to the rising fear, the Austin Police Department has conducted numerous investigations into the deaths, often collaborating with other agencies to determine if foul play is involved. Despite these efforts, the official stance from the police has largely been that there is no concrete evidence to suggest that a serial killer is responsible for the drownings. The APD has pointed to the high levels of alcohol consumption, the proximity of the lake to popular nightlife areas, and the potential for accidental falls into the water as likely explanations for the deaths. However, this explanation has done little to quell public anxiety. Online communities, particularly on platforms like Reddit, have become hotbeds for speculation, with amateur sleuths poring over details of each case in search of a connection. Some have drawn parallels between the Lady Bird Lake drownings and other cases of unexplained drownings across the United States, suggesting that the same perpetrator could be responsible for multiple incidents nationwide. Theories have also emerged that the suspected killer might be employing methods designed to obscure evidence, such as incapacitating victims with drugs or alcohol before pushing them into the water. Some speculate that the killer may have a deep understanding of how to avoid detection, possibly through experience or even law enforcement training, further complicating the investigation. The media's role in this unfolding mystery has been significant in raising awareness and shaping public perception. Local news outlets have extensively covered the drownings, often highlighting the fears of a serial killer. National media has also picked up on the story, bringing it to a wider audience and increasing the pressure on law enforcement to find answers. The narrative of a serial killer lurking near Lady Bird Lake has become deeply ingrained in the public consciousness. The continued coverage has also prompted law enforcement to be more transparent, issuing more frequent public statements and updates on the investigations. Nightlife in downtown Austin, once known for its carefree and vibrant atmosphere, has been overshadowed by a sense of unease. Friends are more cautious about letting each other leave bars or clubs alone, and the local community has become more vigilant, often sharing safety tips on social media. The suspected serial killer has also sparked conversations about broader issues, such as the safety of Austin's nightlife and the adequacy of public safety measures around Lady Bird Lake. Some have called for increased lighting along the lake's trails, more security cameras, and enhanced police patrols, especially during the late hours when the drownings have occurred. Moreover, the case has brought attention to the challenges faced by law enforcement in addressing complex and potentially serial crimes. The APD's handling of the situation has been scrutinised, with some criticising the initial reluctance to consider foul play and others questioning the resources allocated to the investigation. The case has highlighted the difficulties police face in balancing public concern with the need for evidence-based conclusions. As of now, the mystery of the Lady Bird Lake drownings remains unsolved. The lack of definitive evidence pointing to a serial killer, coupled with the growing number of victims, has left the community in a state of limbo. While some cling to the hope that the deaths are merely tragic accidents, others are convinced that a predator is still at large, waiting to strike again. The ongoing investigations continue to explore all possibilities, from accidental drownings to deliberate acts of violence, although law enforcement still refuses to acknowledge publicly that any of the deaths could be attributed to a serial killer. Forensic experts, criminal profilers, and local detectives are working tirelessly to piece together the puzzle, but the lack of witnesses, clear motives, or direct evidence has made progress slow. Until the truth is uncovered, the spectre of a serial killer will continue to loom over Austin, casting a long shadow over the city and its people. Let's hope this isn't another Long Island serial killer or Golden State Killer scenario. Thank you for joining us today on Crime Chronicles. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share the channel with your friends.